Dear investor, quarter four reverse season is progressing, and by now most larger companies have declared results. Two spaces which have managed to deliver growth are utilities and pharmaceuticals. IT services, telecom, and financials have fared relatively better versus others on YOY EPS growth parameters. Other sectors have delivered degrowth, while commodity sectors have been impacted on account of lower commodity prices. Capital goods and auto mix of tractors have suffered demand slowdown. Amongst other sectors, consumers and cement did relatively better. Now, this is important to see the trends in quarter four, because we do expect some of these trends to replicate in financial 21. So, in quarter four, we had a fortnight of disruption in business. In terms of percentage of the quarters that got impacted, it is very, very similar to 1.5 months of disruption that we have seen in this fiscal 21. At this juncture, let us see how our valuations. We continue to be cheap on price to book and market cap to GDP versus our historical bands. In market cap to GDP, we are near the lows that we saw in the times of the GFC. On E though, since 21, financial 21 is a degrowth year, and only financial 22 should be expected to see earnings at levels higher than financial 20. Our valuations do again look slightly higher than long period average on 1 year forward basis. In usual times, we would believe that these would be sustainable, given that bond yields have fallen sharply. They're down by over 1% over last 1 year, and could sustain at these low levels for longer. This reduces the discount rate that is applied to future earnings, and the value of future earnings into the present hence improves. However, these are uncertain times because of COVID and the rapid spread that we are seeing in the country. And we do believe that risk premiums could remain high, and that could cap near-term upside, especially after the strong growth that we have seen last month. However, for longer-term investors, the lowering of risk premium, as businesses come back to pre-COVID levels over a period of time, should result in gains. Last month was a good month for equity markets after a very, very volatile May. Market climbed a wall of worries. Benign global liquidity and low global interest rate and Indian low rate and benign liquidity definitely helped. Moreover, as time has passed, some of the concerns in the month of May have seen better clarity emerge. So let us look at some of those. In the month of May, there was this uncertainty on the extent of lockdown and hence its damage to businesses and earnings, and by extension impact on markets. Uncertainty on China-India border had emerged. Government had tried to provide a large support, but then it was seen to be inadequate and not really giving any immediate support. It was more in the nature of guarantees, moratoriums, etc. globally there was this threat of second COVID wave emerging, and in India the number of cases were ballooning. And given the lockdown that we saw in the month of April and May, quarter one after the week, fourth quarter was expected to be a washout quarter. Now, what has happened is that now the market knows the belief is that even though number of COVID cases may increase, yet because of the economic costs that people have now understood, chances of a countrywide lockdown are low. Today the standard operating procedure seems to be to lock down a locality which is impacted by COVID rather than the whole town or a city or a state. So that is definitely helping business and provides clarity to market participants. Second, on border clashes, there has been casualty and this does bring in extra uncertainty. However, we do believe that the government has been able to turn the situation to its advantage by improving, let me say, market access to domestic businesses. We have seen, import duties go up for stuff manufactured in China. We have seen incentives being given to Indian businesses to set up capacities for import substitution and so on and so forth. So there is an extra business opportunity that may come by, and I think markets could focus on that rather than the clashes, which we do believe could sort themselves over a period of time. Third, while the government support was seen to be inadequate during last month, this month there is clear indication that they have made an impact. Narega spends were up by 40,000 crores. As migrants return to rural India, this money is definitely helping to provide jobs. Rural economy in which ways was doing well, and 70+% of population lives there. If that part of the economy has been protected and fresh, more supply of money has been pumped in, the economic situation there continues to be robust. Second, they had provided guarantees to the extent of 20% of existing loans. Bankers are taking part in that and have opened up their purses. We have seen strong expansion of credit to this segment under this benefit that's been provided by the government. Similarly, NBFCs had liquidity concerns. They had a lot of paper to roll over this quarter. They had to give moratorium to their borrowers, while not all of them got moratorium from banks. However, TLTRO is ensuring that better NBFCs do get money from banks and they are able to tide over their liquidity concerns. The government support which got announced last month is making an impact, and there has been some amount of market response to that, surely. But yes, the threat of the virus continues. People focusing on only essential purposes, essential consumption, and thereby letting go of discretionary consumption continues. Quarter 4 being a degrowth quarter, and after that quarter 1 to also be watch out quarters is clearly something that the market will have to overcome as it goes forward. While those were the concerns over last month, and some clarity did emerge on that, there were several other factors which helped inspire confidence in investors in this month. One, the economy opened up, and there was a manifestation of pent-up demand, and the first feedback has been positive. After not being able to shop for 2 months when people were allowed to go out, we have seen strong demand. Companies have reported a quick jump in terms of demand. They have been surprised. And we do believe that because of artificial nature of the recession, the pullback has been sharp. So this has been the steepest but smallest recessions. There are good numbers coming in. PMI has projected a sharp uptick in employment. If you are on track, the broad indicators like electricity demand, it has improved and only slightly lower than last year as of now. Traffic on national highways has returned to near normal, percent of normal on many highways. Cement transportation by rail has seen a sharp V-shaped recovery. The small point is, while the start has been good, we need to see sustainability of these trends going forward. Second, monsoons have started good. We already were positioned well with water tables high. This was expected to be a good crop year, but now monsoon start has been good as well, and the Todd area has shown improvement. Acreages for all major crops is higher, and that gives a good visibility for the rural and small town economy going forward. We do believe businesses focused on rural economy have done well and could continue to do well going forward as well. Third, and this is interesting, we are seeing better organized companies who have gained market access and have seen improved working capital. In difficult times, typically working capital gets stressed. But what we have seen is, since one part of the corporate India, small companies, less organized companies have been unable to come back quickly enough, and the suppliers, the more credible suppliers were the guys filling up the shelves. Distributors, retailers, the channels basically have paid these guys in time, and some of the names such as Britannia, Cleavers, Relaxo, Cement, part of our portfolios have actually seen improvement in working capital. Many others have seen working capital sustain at previous levels. Very few have seen deterioration. And that clearly points to the other thing, which is better companies are gaining market access. Branded businesses are doing better than unbranded. Now, if people shop more on the net, it is difficult to shop for unbranded product. People will typically go and hunt for branded product. So those are the trends which are clearly seen, and the better run companies, branded businesses are definitely sounding more confident. Anti-China sentiment, we talked of this earlier, that is opening up some opportunity for Indian businesses in India. Government is also lending a helping hand. Last year they cut corporate taxes and for new business setups they were even lower. And now just to provide support to few focused businesses, other incentives are being extended. Also, the anti-China sentiment that we see globally could result in better demand for Indian products as buyers globally try and diversify their sourcing. Last month, the month of June, has also seen very strong FDI and FII flows, and this has definitely helped improve retail investor sentiment. FPIs continued to buy as their home markets had recovered and they had access to cheaper capital and lots of it. What has also happened is, on the FDI front, Reliance raised a lot of money on its Jio platform. That's made Reliance a net cash company and strongly positioned in the e-com space in the country. Reliance is the largest weight in the indices, and strong performance from Reliance has meant that indices stay buoyant. It's not only Reliance which raised money, but many other companies, many other major investors in the companies also raised large monies. Global liquidity benefited India and added to market buoyancy. In terms of names, Kotak raised money, promoters sold once, the bank itself raised money next. Large blocks from HUL, HDFC Life, some of the best Indian companies got sold last month, and significant amount of money got raised. These successful transactions did provide confidence to domestic investors, even while domestic institutional investors became marginal sellers. The domestic institutional investors, the mutual funds, have been seeing their net flows drop. It's been declining over the last few months. Even SIPs, which provide a strong support to mutual funds, have seen some decline. However, strong continued FPI flows have enabled the market to recover strongly. Now, this phenomenon seems to be global. We keep tracking a set of global markets. In the first round of recovery, tech-enabled markets did very well. Nasdaq is one market which is positive for the year. China is doing well, relatively speaking. Other markets, depending on how strong the economy is, whether it's a reserve currency market and what is the extent of the government support, have been performing in that order. Last month saw the laggards do very well, and key reason could be FPI positivity across markets during last 1 month. Bond yields continue to be low. FDI, FII flows have meant that forex reserves rise, and in a situation of the country reporting current account surpluses, which we expect would remain in FY21 as well. The stress on forex is low, currency has been stable. The downgrade that the country saw by these has been taken in this stride. Financials have seen better collections as the economy opened up. Now, this was a big worry for the market. That this was the space which had seen largest cuts we had maintained positivity in this space, and what has happened is that as the economy has opened up, the collections that have come in have been better than what most people expected, and that has helped this space bounce back nicely over last 1 month. And yes, the other worry that this space had of being able to finance the repayments which were going to happen over the next quarter as the banks opened up their purses has definitely also helped the sentiment. Given the scenario that we had described for yourselves, how are we positioning the portfolios? The portfolios continue to focus on high quality, high long-term growth space, focused on sectors, some of which we have shared with yourselves in this presentation, where we believe chances of growth over the next few years is high. We continue to follow the investing checkboxes that we have shared earlier. We continue to like cash on book businesses versus levered business. That's the checkbox number 1. In periods of lower economic growth, leverage hurts. That's the thought there. Second, we favor branded businesses over commodities. We do believe, commodity prices could remain soft going forward, and branded businesses would experience gross margin expansions. That would be a good driver for all the growth going forward. Probably the only driver of growth in fiscal 21 over 20. As yet, the trends in agri-commodities continue to be benign for FMCG and staple companies. Given the good monsoons, we do believe this could sustain over the year. There are exceptions to this. Commodities like cement are seeing strong demand supported by government spends. This is a commodity which has pricing power and benefits immensely from lower, let's say, fuel prices. It's a very energy guzzling commodity. In branded space, we like smaller ticket items, staples versus discretionary, and businesses that are focused more on rural India or benefit from the demand in rural India versus others. Third checkbox is focus on domestic versus exports. Now there are exceptions to this. We like pharmaceuticals and specialty chemical, which would benefit from shift from China to India as buyers diversify sourcing. But otherwise, we do believe India could re-emerge as one of the faster growing economies, and in a scenario where globally you see trade barriers move up, domestic focused businesses could end up, generally speaking, doing better. And like we said before, in the near term, rural India, smaller town focused businesses could do better versus others. In financials, that's the last checkbox. We like life and general insurances. They're better positioned over lenders, and within lenders, we favor retail focused lenders over wholesale corporate lenders, and we like lenders where the leverage is lower than their own long period leverage. So that would happen if they have raised money over the last period. Lastly, to sum up, we see growth in spaces like agri, economy, so seeds, tractors, farm equipment, staples, insecticide, pesticide, etc., and telecom. And we believe these spaces have a good chance of delivering growth, EPS growth in financial 21 over financial 20, and subsequently. The other space, pharmaceuticals, we believe businesses focused on chronic therapies are better placed versus businesses focused on acute. The experience of last 2 months show this and could continue in future as people take precautions against COVID and live healthier. So this is something that we believe will happen. Diseases like normal cough and cold, dysentery, etc., would occur less, and hence, acute therapies may see degrowth sustain, while chronic therapies should continue to see growth. If bad debts are kept in check, and there are hopes emerging in that space, financials could deliver growth as well, especially ones where cost of funds has fallen and operating costs have been kept in check. The other space where we are hopeful is, consumers, particularly. So consumers would be impacted less. We have been, going and buying staples even while lockdown was there. But amongst the smaller ticket discretionary items, paints and adhesives have a chance to deliver EPS growth if the issue sorts out quickly on account of very strong raw material benefit. Specialty chemicals could also deliver growth. In our portfolios, we have reduced exposure to consumers, mainly on account of portfolio rebalancing. They have done very well for us relative to other spaces, and the weightage in the portfolio had gone up, and we took some money off the table and increased weightage to pharmaceuticals and chemicals. We have also improved our weight into financials, which because of price cuts that we have seen in the marketplace had dropped substantially. We believe these are spaces which have the best chances of delivering growth in 21 over 20 and in the medium term, or let's say seeing the least amount of degrowth versus other spaces. In terms of investors coming into the market, lastly, we advise caution and staggered investing. In the face of strong market performance in the last month, we believe caution should be exercised, and while valuations still present an upside to long-term investors, coming into the market in a staggered manner is what we believe is advisable. We need to keep a watch on domestic institutional flows reviving as the economy opens up. Thank you. Happy investing.